It started as many betrayals do, not with a bang, but with a whisper of familiarity. Looking back, I suppose the signs had always been there. But when you love someone, truly, deeply, you learn to ignore the cracks. You convince yourself that love means patience, sacrifice, and understanding, even when it hurts. I was the eldest child, the dependable one, the rock of the family, as my mother liked to introduce me to her friends at church. I was 16 when Dad lost his job and we had to sell our old house. 17 when I started working nights after school just to help keep the lights on. I never complained. I just did what needed to be done, because that's what family does. When I turned 25, I took on a second job and saved every dollar I could. I didn't go out, I didn't travel, I skipped birthdays, holidays, even basic luxuries, all so that I could buy a house for all of us. The mortgage was in my name, the down payment came from my account, but I never said it was mine. I told them it was ours. I furnished every room, bought my younger sister her dream vanity set, let my little brother convert the garage into a creative space, even though it just meant playing video games all night. I paid the bills. I fixed the plumbing. I stocked the fridge. And when Mom's car broke down, I dipped into my savings and got her a used Toyota, paid in full. They thanked me, of course, with passing hugs, the occasional dinner, a birthday card scribbled with, "You're the best." But the truth is, over time, it stopped feeling like they saw me as someone who gave, and more like someone who owed. The requests got more frequent, a few hundred for Dad's investment opportunity that never materialized, my sister accidentally charging luxury skincare to my card, my brother somehow having access to my streaming accounts, ordering pay-per-view sports I never watched. I confronted them a few times, gently, always gently, but they brushed it off with laughs and dismissive waves. "You're doing well, aren't you?" Mom would say with a smile. "What's family for if not to lean on each other?" And I believed her. I swallowed my discomfort. I told myself it wasn't a big deal. I was being sensitive. After all, they were my family. Until the day it wasn't just discomfort, it was devastation. It was a Friday morning when I saw the photos. My best friend had tagged me in a post on Instagram thinking I was on the trip too. "This looks amazing, so happy for you," she wrote. The image was clear. My parents, my sister, my brother, on the deck of a yacht, drinks in hand, sun-kissed and smiling. The caption read, "Family vacation of a lifetime, Blue Maldives, here we are." I stared at it for several seconds, waiting for my brain to process what my eyes were screaming. They had gone on a luxury vacation, without me, using my money. I scrambled to check my bank account, nearly $18,000 missing. Charges to airlines, hotels, high-end restaurants, every dollar from my emergency fund, gone. And then the message came. "Hey, sweetie, we're just about to go scuba diving. Don't worry, we'll bring back some souvenirs. Love you." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even blink. I just sat there, silent. It felt like the air had been punched from my lungs. My chest was tight, like my heart had turned to stone. I scrolled through the comments. "Such a beautiful family. Where's your eldest? Didn't they help you buy the house?" My sister replied, "They were too busy with work. We needed this." We needed this. As if I were nothing more than a paycheck, a silent benefactor, a tool. In that moment, the truth slammed into me with the force of a hurricane. They didn't just leave me behind, they never really saw me at all. And it wasn't just the money, it was every sleepless night, every skipped meal, every dream I had shelved to keep their world spinning. I had built this house. I had held them together. And they discarded me like a spare coat on a summer day. The silence that followed was deafening. And for the first time in my life, I wondered, What would happen if I stopped holding it all together? What if I let it fall? The real breaking point didn't come with the money. It wasn't the empty bank account or the photos of their sun-soaked smiles. No, that was betrayal, yes. But it wasn't the betrayal. That came a few days later. I was still reeling, trying to process it all, when my phone buzzed with a notification. A new post from my sister. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. It was a video this time. My family sitting around a candle-lit table on a private beach. Laughter, champagne, fireworks in the distance. And over it, the caption, "Sometimes it's best to leave the stress behind and just be with the people who really matter. #family first." I stared at those words. The people who really matter? There it was. No pretense, no subtlety, just cruel, cutting honesty wrapped in glitter and hashtags. And then, like salt in a wound, the comment thread. "Friend, is my name not with you?" My sister's reply. "Too busy with work or drama. Either way, it's been so peaceful." Peaceful. That word echoed in my skull like a siren. Peaceful without me. Serene in my absence. As if I had been the weight all along. A friend texted me minutes later. "Wait, you're not on that trip. Weren't you the one who paid for their house?" That was the moment. Everything froze. My heartbeat slowed to a dull, aching thud. The room didn't spin, it just disappeared. All sound drained away. I sat there, motionless, while something inside me crumbled. Something warm and soft. The last ember of hope that maybe they didn't mean to hurt me. That maybe, somehow, this was all a misunderstanding. That ember went out. And in its place, something else was born. Not rage, not even hatred, but a clarity so sharp it felt like glass. A stillness took over, a terrifying, sacred silence. I didn't cry, I didn't curse. I just breathed in and out. One final breath as the person I used to be. They had built a world without me. Now, I would show them what it felt like when that world was no longer theirs to stand on. I closed the app, my hands stopped shaking, and for the first time in a long time, I smiled. Let's see how peaceful you are when the locks don't recognize you anymore. They had no idea, not a clue. While they were posting sunsets and sipping cocktails on floating breakfasts, I was here. Back in the house, they didn't think twice about abandoning, making quiet, deliberate moves. I played my role well. Sent a text in the family group chat. "Looks amazing. Hope you're all having the best time. Let me know if you want me to restock the fridge before you're back." No one suspected a thing. My sister reacted with a heart emoji. My mom sent a sun-kissed selfie, and I was already 10 steps ahead. The first thing I did was call my lawyer, not the family's lawyer, the one I had quietly hired years ago when I started noticing how comfortable everyone was spending my money. We reviewed the paperwork, mortgage, deed, utilities. Every major asset was in my name. I had protected myself without even realizing I'd one day need to weaponize it. Then I contacted a real estate agent. She was good, fast, discreet, and ruthless in negotiations. When she asked if I was ready to list the property, I answered without hesitation. Put it on the market tomorrow. Next came the locks. I paid a locksmith double for a same-day visit. We changed every entry point, front door, back door, windows with smart latches. I even replaced the garage code and set up a new alarm system, facial recognition, fingerprint-only access. I left nothing untouched. As I walked through the now empty hallway, I began packing. Not my things, theirs. One by one, I sorted their belongings. Clothes, makeup, video game consoles, that weird scented candle my sister insisted on lighting in the summer. All labeled, all boxed, all stacked nicely on the porch, beneath a tarp, protected from the July sun, but very much outside the house. I contacted the utilities to inform them of the upcoming sale and changed all mailing addresses to a P.O. box I'd set up downtown. I notified the HOA of the ownership transition. Every I was dotted, every T crossed. By day, I was the same dutiful child. I replied to texts, I liked their posts, I even sent them a $50 voucher for a spa treat on me, the irony thick enough to drown in. But by night, I became someone else. The difference wasn't just in action, it was in mindset. For so long, I had been the fixer, the caretaker, the quiet provider in the background. Now, I was in control. Cold, composed, calculating, not cruel, measured, like a chess player who finally sees the entire board. And the best part? They didn't even know the game had begun. It was late afternoon when their Uber pulled up to the driveway. The sun cast long shadows across the front lawn, bathing the house in warm gold, but nothing could soften what awaited them. They stepped out, rolling their designer luggage behind them, all tanned and relaxed, the scent of salt still lingering on their clothes. Laughter bubbled from my sister's lips. My mom adjusted her sunglasses, and my brother was mid-joke when he froze. There it was, a large, bold sign planted square in the middle of the front yard. For sale, under contract. For a few seconds, none of them moved, just blinking, trying to compute what they were seeing. Then my sister broke the silence. "What is this?" she asked, her voice cracking slightly. My mother turned to the front door, already stepping toward it. She reached for the handle. It didn't budge. She tried again. Nothing. My father, already agitated, barked, "Who changed the damn locks?" That was when I stepped outside. I had been waiting just inside, watching through the peephole. I opened the door slowly, calmly, as if this were the most mundane Tuesday in the world. They all turned to me at once. My mother's face lit up with confusion and indignation. "Why are the locks changed, and what is that sign doing out front?" I didn't answer right away. I took a sip from the cup of tea in my hand, stepped forward, and glanced at the boxes on the porch, neatly labeled with their names. "I thought I'd save you the trouble of packing. You've already done so much traveling lately. I figured you'd be tired." My sister scoffed. "What the hell is going on here?" I looked her dead in the eye. "What's going on is that you don't live here anymore." My father's face reddened. "You ungrateful little... This is our home. You don't get to throw us out of our own damn house?" "No," I said, tilting my head. "My house, bought with my money, maintained with my income, in my name. You were all just extended guests, and your stay has expired." "You can't do this," my mother snapped, stepping closer. "This isn't how family works." "Family," I repeated slowly, tasting the word like it was something bitter. "Family doesn't steal, doesn't lie, doesn't drain your life savings while smiling into a camera on a private island." They began talking over each other. "We didn't think you'd care. It was just one vacation. We were going to pay you back." I raised one hand, palm open, and they fell quiet. I reached into the folder tucked beneath my arm and pulled out the deed to the house, highlighted, underlined, notarized, my name, and only my name, listed as the legal owner. Then I pulled out the second sheet, a detailed expense breakdown of the money they had borrowed, flights, hotel bookings, spa treatments, jewelry,
even the ridiculously overpriced bottle of champagne they bragged about in a post.
And just in case you are thinking of contesting this, I added, tapping my phone, I have copies of texts, bank transfers, and audio recordings from the past 3 years where each of you openly admit that it was my money you were using. You practically narrated your own undoing. My brother stepped forward, hands out. Okay, this is getting out of hand. Let's all just go inside, talk it through like adults. There is no inside for you anymore, I interrupted. You made that clear when you boarded that plane without me, when you toasted to real family, when you decided I was just the bank account in the background. My sister scoffed. You're seriously doing all this over a vacation? I looked at her, and for the first time in my life, I saw her clearly, not as my sister, but as someone who never saw me as anything more than a means to an end. No, I replied. I'm doing this because that vacation showed me the truth, that you never respected me, that love in this family only flowed one way. My mother's eyes welled up. She reached for my arm. Please, don't do this. We're family. I gently stepped back. You threw that word around so easily when it served you, but it means something to me. And what you did, that wasn't love, that wasn't family, that was betrayal. They stood there, on the porch, boxed out of the very world they had taken for granted, faces pale, mouths dry, reality sinking in like a storm tide. I gave one last glance to the packed boxes. If you need a place to stay, I suggest a hotel. I hear the Maldives is lovely this time of year. Maybe try it without my credit card. Then I turned, walked inside, and closed the door. Behind me, I could hear the chaos erupt, shouts, footsteps, accusations flying between them. But in here, in my home, silence. Sweet, earned silence. The next morning was quiet. Not the kind of quiet that feels heavy or uncertain, but the kind that settles into your bones and lets you breathe again. I stood by the window, a cup of coffee warming my hands, watching the early sunlight paint the freshly mown lawn. The for sale sign was gone now, replaced by a discreet little plaque. Sold. They never came back. At least, not to the house. That day on the porch had been their final act, one they weren't in control of, for once. They stood there for hours after I shut the door, arguing among themselves. I watched through the security camera feed as they unloaded years of buried resentment on each other. The performance was Oscar-worthy. Accusations, tears, denial, blame, but not one apology to me. Not a single moment of accountability. In the weeks that followed, everything unraveled for them. My sister tried to spin the story online, painting herself as the betrayed daughter, but screenshots are forever, and people don't like hypocrites. She lost her brand sponsorships within days. The companies wanted no association with entitled fraud. My brother, ever the charmer, found his girlfriend less receptive when she realized he had no place to stay, no income, and no real ambition. He moved in with a college buddy in a cramped apartment on the edge of town. The Xbox didn't come with him. My parents, well, they bounced between relatives for a while, but people talk, and the whispers got louder. They stole from their own child, someone said at a neighborhood gathering, left them behind while they sipped champagne, another added. Shame spreads faster than wildfire when it's earned. I didn't revel in their suffering. I didn't need to, because I was finally free. I moved into a smaller, sunlit apartment in a different part of the city. No more pretending, no more forced obligations or emotional debt disguised as tradition. Just me, and the version of myself I had long buried under guilt and duty. I started painting again. I took walks in the morning. I went on dates, real dates, where I wasn't worried about rushing home to fix someone else's mess.
I reconnected with old friends, told them the whole story over coffee and laughter, and felt lighter each time. People asked me if I'd forgiven them. My answer was always the same. I forgave them for me, not for them, because carrying that weight wasn't punishment for them. It was poison for me, and I was done drinking it. Forgiveness didn't mean I let them back in. It meant I let myself move forward. The truth is, family is not defined by blood, it's defined by respect, by reciprocity, by love that shows up. And when those things are absent, walking away isn't betrayal, it's survival. Sometimes people teach you who they are not through cruelty, but through indifference, through the way they forget you when the sun shines, only to remember you when it rains. I don't wish them harm, but I don't wish them back. And as I look around this peaceful space, filled with my own energy, my own colors, my own calm, I realize I never needed their approval. I never needed their love wrapped in conditions. What I needed was me. Just me. Whole again. And now I have that. So if you're ever standing on the edge of betrayal, wondering if it's okay to choose yourself, this is your sign. It's more than okay. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say to those who took you for granted is nothing at all. Just leave them standing at a locked door and walk away with the key. I gave everything to people who thought they owned me. Now I give everything to someone who truly deserves it. Me.